I'm going to stop watching It's Jasmine now.
It's Jasmine 101. I'm playing Fortnite, but it's a talk show.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. You know what I do understand, Julien?
What?
I understand podcasting, sort of.
Do you?
As I have to change my lighting because I fucked it up. So,
well, we've got
anyway.
60 podcasts for you. Welcome to the Hungover Podcast.
Welcome. Our second live stream, and this is an unusual one, but that's because this is Easter weekend coming up, or having just passed, depending on when you're listening to. If you're tuning into the live stream, which you can catch usually on a Sunday, but today a special Wednesday, or if you're tuning into it on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Google Play, it comes out every Monday at 9 a.m. And if you are tuning it in at one of those junctures, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you're on iTunes. It helps increase our visibility, and we want to get out there to talk to you.
Yes, we're trying to go everywhere you guys are, so if there's a podcast service out there that you would like to use, but you also want to listen to Hungover Podcast, specifically on that podcast service, definitely send a tweet, get in contact with us in some way. It's all in the description below.
See what I did there? I turned a flub into progress in the podcast.
Look, that's generally how we roll. We are flubbing all the time. Now,
We're professionals.
you could call us flubber if you wanted.
You know what else is
flubber.
professional?
What?
This next bit. Hey, Julien, every week in our podcast, we talk about the things that we've consumed this week, whether it be some alcoholic beverages, as we are hungover, gaming,
all
or
the time.
media that you've consumed, so TV shows, movies, games, music, anything that's floated your boat this week. Let's talk about that. Let's start with you, because we always start with me.
Well,
your turn.
Since we just recently talked on Sunday, I have not much to update you on, but you can listen to the podcast last week if you'd like for a more in-depth perception of who I am in terms of consumption of media. But really, I played some Halo 5 recently with you last night, and we tried to record it, but it did not work. My computer was not happy with it. We also played some Sea of Thieves I was happy about.
Some Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, which we will be talking about later on in the show during the top of the show section. But you can also check out our Let's Play, which should be going up on our YouTube channel on this Friday. But, of course, we already did one last Friday, which was pretty awesome. So,
It's part
Yvonne,
2 of our eccentric series of Sea of Thieves plays.
Yeah, Yvonne, aside from that, I've actually been listening to some Kendrick Lamar lately, mostly because I had a really stressful commute on Monday night. I'm coming home from the gym. I'm pumped up, I'm having a good time. And then I have to wait 40 minutes for the R train to come. And then I have to transfer at Atlantic Avenue, right? So I got to transfer to the D train. I get to 36th Street, and the D train
to the train?
The D train decides to run on the N line. What the fuck? What's going on, MTA? Tell me. See me in the streets, MTA. I'm coming for you. What's up?
Don't they do those unintelligible announcements?
Yeah, that's exactly how I found out, because, I can translate in my head. But so then at that point, I looked at the new thing that they've put on all the stations. They spent so much money on these digital displays that tell you when the train's coming, which is nice, I suppose. But maybe they should fix the trains first. I don't know, instead of spending all that money. It says 17 minutes to the next D train. I'm like, well, guess I'm walking home. And and I didn't have any podcasts to listen to, except for ours, of course. But so I put on some Kendrick Lamar, and damn, Period is a really great album. I'll tell you.
It really is.
It's a fantastic album. Particularly to walk through the streets of Brooklyn, and I think probably better to walk through the streets of Compton in, but Brooklyn's fine, I suppose. The other thing I've been consuming, which I haven't talked much about on the podcast, is Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super, let me tell you, I got my girlfriend into it. I don't know how. It's a godsend because now I can watch more of it. But it also means I can watch less of it because now I have to wait for her to watch any of the show. So it's really annoying because I want to watch it, but I can't watch. I'm
what
kidding.
a catch-22.
I'm kidding. But yeah, so this show is just going off the rails. It's crazy. They already had a tournament. They're gonna have another tournament. They're interacting with all these gods and shit. They brought Future Trunks back, which is awesome. And I won't spoil too much about it, but let's say they fight an alternate. I mean, does it really matter the story of Dragon Ball Z? I don't know. Dragon Ball Super. They fight an alternate reality Goku.
Is that Goku Black?
Yes. But he says...
We finally figured out who Goku Black is.
And now I know who Goku Black is. He's in Dragon Ball FighterZ, of course. He's really cool. But the funniest thing is that they call him Super Saiyan Rose because he has pink hair. And Goku and Vegeta have ascended to Super Saiyan God, but they call themselves Super Saiyan Blue. And I really love it. It's just fantastic because there's no word for rose in Japanese apparently, or Super Saiyajin Rose. It's a weird thing, but the battles are getting epic, and it seems to. I mean, let's be honest, all of Dragon Ball Z was about Goku, except for the one time it was about Gohan. Or the 2 times it was about Gohan.
I would contend that all of Dragon Ball Z was about Gohan.
You think so?
Secretly.
Until the Cell Saga.
Then
After
they were
the
like,
Cell Saga.
shit, we have to drag this story out because it's too popular. Yeah. So then they threw in this bibbity-boppity-boo bullshit.
Oh, it was bullshit.
Because really, how does Dragon Ball Z start? It starts with the Raditz fight. And guess who dies? Son Goku.
Yeah.
Sorry for the spoiler. And guess who has the
fight.
Game-changing attack onto Raditz?
Gohan.
That's right.
His headbutt.
A young Gohan
Sick
with
ass
his headbutt. Thus symbolizing that the story of Dragon Ball Z is actually the story of the training of Gohan, just like the story of Dragon Ball was the training of Goku.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm telling you, Dragon Ball Super is all about Goku. And not at all about Vegeta.
Oh my god, can I tell a quick interjection story? So I've been getting back into education. I've been in the classroom a bit more.
Yeah. Good for you.
There was a kid who was like, we were debating whether thicker or more thick was correct.
How old? What grade are you teaching? Was this class?
This was a
it's all blending
classroom.
Together, isn't it?
It really
You're
does.
becoming a real teacher.
So many different classrooms. This was a 5th grade classroom, and he's like, wait, thicker is a word? I was like, yeah, so if thicker is a word, then thickest is a word. Okay, and he's like, but what about better? Is there a betterist? And I was like, no, decent it's question. The EST, so it's best. And he's like, you just blew my mind.
Damn. Let me tell you, though, Vegeta is definitely not the betterest of Goku. Goku is the best in this series, and it's all about him. Goku was
always the best.
I know, but it's all about him, and I also figured out who Hit was. Hit is really cool. He's really cool.
Is he a villain or a good guy?
He's sort of just a neutral character in the show. He's just he's like Goku's rival, but in a way that they're just both trying to become stronger, not because he has any malicious intent.
The green guy from after Goku dies in the Cell Saga, there's that green guy who's like the best, and when they fight the Grand Kai tournament, it's like them two against each other.
I think I would say that.
What was that guy's name?
I don't know. I'm not thinking of this character correctly, I'm guessing. But yeah, the Hit is a really cool character. Anyways, Dragon Ball Super is super awesome, Super Saiyan, and super awesome. They definitely have towards the... Okay, so the first season I'm assuming they had the same budget they had for Dragon Ball Z, or towards the end of Dragon Ball Z, and then just have upgraded it to HD. But the second season, or second set of episodes, when they move on to when Future Trunks comes back, they've definitely upped the budget because they had a lot more of hand animated, like frame by frame fight scenes, which was super cool. It's really cool to see that sometimes. You can clearly tell the difference. Well, I guess I love Japanese animation, and it can be a slog for some of these production studios to get episode out after episode out, especially when there's 130 episodes of Dragon Ball Super. So it's nice to see that they thought that they really wanted to accentuate this part of the scene, this part of the fight scene, and really hand animate every single frame, which is really cool. But I digress. I've played video games as well. Overwatch, super tilted. We won a game, though. Let me put it that way. I just played a game before this podcast, and let me tell you, it didn't go so well.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well.
Let me check your overbuff stats.
I played it on Jujubee's PhD. You can check that one. I was forced to play Tracer, which was not good. I'm not ready to play Tracer yet, and the guy, I don't know, whatever, I'm not going to complain. Doesn't matter. I gotta, you gotta play the character to get better, so I gotta play Tracer.
Your Moira stats on Jujubee's PhD are actually much better than your Moira stats on Jujubee's Good.
It's because there's a smaller sample size, I'm guessing.
17 games, or, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's a decent sample size, but I don't know. Anyways, Yvonne, that's about me. How about you? And also, Divine Hailstorm, welcome to the party. You are behind Yvonne. Let me put your chat. We'll have the chat going here in between us. That's cool.
What's up,
for the
Divine
video?
Hailstorm?
Welcome to the party. We're recording the Hungover podcast. If you didn't know, we're trying to do it live. So sorry, audio listeners who are tuning into this on Monday. We're interacting with the chat. Yeah, Yvonne, how about you?
All right. So this week, in terms of TV or whatever I'm consuming, I similarly got my girlfriend into Psych.
Whoa, cool.
So we've been watching a lot of that, continuing. It's a show that I own like 5 seasons of on DVD, and I really love it. I think the latter seasons are quite bad, but the early seasons are gold. And if you watch it, you really understand my humor.
Yes. Yes, so much. Oh my
So Julien watched a few episodes, I think when we were still in college.
Yeah, that's when I watched it.
And then he like the next day he came to me and he was like, I know where you get all of your jokes.
I finally get you. And that's when we truly became friends.
Laura was like, I finally understand your comedy. Damn it, I'm so transparent.
Where that was on Hulu, right? Or is it on Hulu?
It's on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, now it's on Amazon Prime. Cool.
Yeah, so it used to be on Netflix. It probably had its day on Hulu too, especially when it was airing. Now it's on Amazon.
Maybe I should watch it again.
It's pretty good. I'd check it out. Also, did you see the Psych movie?
No, I didn't see the movie.
So the Psych movie is also there.
Should we have a Psych movie review? Tell us in the comment section below.
I think we should just watch it live.
Yeah, we should just do that.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Other than that, I have been exploring 2 games that are new to me, but old in general. So in order to prep for Far Cry 5, I got Far Cry 4.
Nice.
Just to get back in on PC, to get back into kind of how it feels and how it plays. I also purchased Heroes of Might and Magic. I think it's 7.
Okay.
So Heroes of Might and Magic.
What is that?
7. It's this weird. So there's like a world map where you have heroes that roam the world map and they can interact with things that are in the world. Like you can claim resources or fight against enemy, like neutral enemies or enemy player heroes, and then you have cities that you develop with the resources that you capture across the field.
Okay.
And then you recruit armies from your cities or neutral armies from across the world.
Did you
and
say this is a real-time strategy game? Sorry,
No,
not
it's
quite.
turn-based.
Oh, turn-based. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, it's turn-based in the world, and then when you get into combat, it's like a chess turn-based style.
Whoa,
So it's
that's
the
cool.
tactical strategy board. And so there's like a running timer of initiatives, and so different troops have different initiative levels. And there's like ranged attacks, melee attacks, and then special troops will have special abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like a new thing that they introduced, I don't know whether it was in this one or a previous one, because I haven't played it since Heroes of Might and Magic 5, I think.
Yeah.
Is that like winged creatures can attack and then return to their original position, so it doesn't leave them vulnerable.
Okay.
Things like that. So
That's
it's kind
crazy.
of it's an interesting game. The campaign is interesting as well because it's like a council is at a table and it's telling the stories of a bunch of different kingdoms. So all of the different races or kingdoms. So there's like Academy and Stronghold, and there are different cities that have different units that you build from there, and
Yeah.
the heroes that come from those cities have different abilities. Like if you come from Stronghold, that's your classic orcs, trolls, gnolls, harpies, things like that, like the evil monsters that you think of.
Yeah.
And the heroes have an ability called Blood Rage, versus things that come from the one where it's like magic and wizardry, so they've got like fairies and elementals and things, and dragons as their highest
And
level.
this game's on Steam right now?
Yeah, it's on sale on Steam, so it's like about $12. So
Okay.
together they were about $25 put together. It was
That's not bad.
a solid investment, and it's provided a bit of fun. Far Cry 4 is one of those kinds of... Thanks, Divine Hellstorm. Far Cry 4 is just one of those games that you can just kind of like do a whole bunch of stuff that's interesting to you or whatever. And then yeah,
Of course,
so
that
and then
is a Far Cry.
I've really wanted to get into getting better at Overwatch. Like I know we play it a lot.
Yeah, but we're not taking it serious enough. We gotta go to Overwatch League levels. That's what I'm saying, Ivan. We're playing after. We're playing after this podcast. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how tired you are. We're playing.
Okay, my reactions
how we
might
get
not be
better.
good enough for Widow. But yesterday I had literally the best competitive Widow game of my life.
Was I in
so
it?
I split
Was
between
this-
Widow and Soldier, and we had
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
had 75 limbs.
That
by
was
the
a
end of the
great
match.
game.
Yeah, and I got instead of a Soldier highlight from that game, it was a Widow highlight from the game. So my Widow play wasn't terrible. Like the people in our team were like, "What's gold of limbs?" And I was like, "It's this." And they saw that I'd been playing Widowmaker, and they were like, "That's actually impressive." Also, the fact that I had so many limbs and we didn't win the match is
Yeah.
very disappointing.
It was disappointing, but honestly, it was well played on both sides. So it was not like we had a lever, we had some guy who's just hanging out in spawn room or just walking in and killing himself. You know, it's not like we had that sort of player. We actually both sides played really well, and they just ended up having I think they got a lucky ult at the end. Well, maybe not lucky, but Junkrat had his ult, and it ruined our
We should have been able to... So, it was on Gibraltar, and we should have been able to hold them on the first turn, but
Yeah.
something happened with our team coordination where we couldn't. In any case, we are getting better, slowly but surely, at Overwatch. It's just that our team is getting worse.
Teams are significantly worse than us, I guess. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
But you know what is a lot worse than either of us expected it to be?
The game Sea of Thieves. Exclusive.
Boom! Look at that professional transition.
Exclusive to Xbox One, Xbox One X, and PC currently. It's an Xbox game developed by Rare, the studio you may know from Donkey Kong, but have since been acquired by Microsoft, and all the people who made Donkey Kong have since left Rare and moved to, I think, I'm not entirely, I think some of them
Didn't
are working
they
at
make the Crash
Retro.
Bandicoot clone?
Who? What? No, no,
Isn't Rare Crash Bandicoot?
no, no. Naughty Dog makes Crash Bandicoot, published by Activision. Um, which
Mm.
is crazy, right? If you think about it. Think about that. They also make Uncharted. The same guy, some of the same people still on the team. But yeah,
That's very
so
weird.
we're talking about Sea of Thieves, which we were both really excited for. And as you'll see in the Let's Play, we dress up as pirates. It's a fun pirate game, sort of an open world game, shared world game, as they call it. So you end up on a server, which is the game map as you see it. There's a large open world of just water and a bunch of scattered islands. So it's sort of like the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, if you will. And you basically are all in this world together, the people on the server. I'm guessing this is how it works in the coding, and how they matchmake people. And you can sail with a bunch of friends, or you can sail alone. So really, it lends itself to a game that has a lot of potential, but ends up getting bogged down by a couple design flaws, in my opinion, anyways. Yvonne, what's your opinion on the game so far?
I think that it is a. I think we can talk about it in the greater scope of like games in 2018
Yeah.
and 2017, but in particular about this game, I think the big flaw is that it doesn't have enough to be a $60 game.
Yeah.
Because it's like Destiny, but it doesn't even have the visual differentiation of Destiny. Like, if you play Destiny and you have to grind Destiny, at least you go to different planets, have like 3 different types of enemies that you have to deal with, even if it's all kind of the same loop that you have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
All of the enemies basically in Sea of Thieves are all the same. The islands look kind of different, but for the most part, it's all the same. And it just seems really empty for what the promise of this game was. And it just kind of feels like Rare was developing this game, and I think it felt like Microsoft might have pushed them to just release the minimum viable product rather than releasing what they wanted. So if you go back and look at the trailer, like in the trailer, they're opening chests, they're forcing people to walk the plank. There's a lot more focus on interaction, I think. And if you look at the core mechanics of the game, like if you're doing pirate speech, there's the ability to do an emote that's something like make friends. And I think there's a lot more that's in there that was designed to be part of that interaction between players, that the world really lends itself to. And that interaction between players and throughout the whole player base was really supposed to supplement what the game was itself. But there's not a lot of that. From what we've said, the times that we've interacted with other people on the ships, it's basically kill or be killed. There's no like trading or different things. And
Oh, that would be cool. Well, I mean, you could technically trade if you wanted. They're all tangible things that you carry around. But basically, the way this game is set up is there are 3 types of missions you could go on from 3 different factions. There's the Merchant Alliance, the Hoarder Alliance, and the Voodoo Lady Alliance. I don't know what she's
like
called.
the Soul Order or something like that.
So basically the Merchant Alliance asks you to go get chickens or catch pigs for
Which is as
reason.
Boring as it sounds.
Yes, and
And as
also
tedious.
it's as tedious considering the pigs and chickens. There are different types, and you can get a mission to get different types of chickens. The chickens and pigs spawn procedurally, randomly generated on various islands. So you can end up going to an island and there be no chickens and pigs. Although I don't think, or you can go to an island and end up there being pigs but no chickens. Let's put it that way. And so that would be really annoying considering it's a slog. It can take maybe a couple minutes to get between island to island. And then you also have to have a chicken coop in order to catch the chickens, and that's hard to come by on its own. You can get some from the Merchant Alliance, but you can also find them randomly scattered around. I don't really understand the point of these missions, and I think they were maybe scrambling to find some sort of variety in missions. I'm sure they could have thought of something else. That is just, I think, pretty lazy in terms of mission design. It's just a fetch quest.
And in terms of like the quests that we've come up against, we have to say that we've put in what 5-6 hours each of us into this game.
So we haven't spent maybe 40 hours, which I hear you have to end up spending a lot of hours to get to the end game content, which is pretty much just harder versions of the same missions, as far as I know.
Does that include like the multi-step, like you are given like riddles and you have to figure them out on the island that you should go to?
Pretty much.
I feel like that's not something that should be. You have to log hours to get to that level of quest.
Yeah, when the initial quests are so tedious and frankly kind of boring once you do it over and over again, because this is all there is to do in the game. When you start the game, you are told nothing. You just awaken in the bar, which is pretty funny on its own, I guess. I'll give them that. But you wake up in the bar, and then you just go outside, and you already have a sword, and you have a pistol, and you have to find your boat. And then you aren't told how to sail your boat, which is fine. I don't necessarily need a tutorial or anything. I mean,
to be fair,
we figured it out on our own.
We didn't even have a boat. We had to swim out to the mermaid the
right.
first time we played to get to a ship.
Maybe that's what you have to do. I'm not sure. But then you aren't told anything about these merchants who have no backstory at all. And I thought maybe there's a reason why I'm turning in all this treasure to this crazy guy who's trying to get gold. Why am I not keeping the gold? I don't know. But basically, yeah, the Hoarder Alliance, he gives you maps, and I think that's pretty cool. Navigation in the game's all right. We can talk about that later. But he gives you maps, and you have to go sail to that island, and X marks the spot, as all the movies tell you, and you dig up the treasure, you bring the treasure back to him, and you sell it to him. Then that levels up your reputation with him.
He's basically Alec Baldwin's character from Glengarry Glen Ross. He's just like, these are the hardest leads we've ever had. A, B, C, always be getting treasure.
But in a pirate's voice. And basically that levels up your reputation with him. Then you can start getting harder quests from him, which are the same thing but have higher rewards. And you have to end up buying those quests. So as far as I've found, you end up getting money from turning things in, and you end up getting, you get whatever the price is, and what you can spend your money on in the game. I mean, why would you have currency if you have nothing to buy in the game? It's not like I'm saving for my retirement. I'm trying to buy shit in this game, all right? You can buy cosmetic stuff, which there are a bunch of different things you can buy to make your pirate look cool, but it's a first-person game, so you're not even going to see yourself. And it's all cosmetic, so you can put on an eye patch, you can get a beard or whatever, and you can buy different guns, which are just cosmetic guns. They're not any better, I don't think, anyways. And then you can buy more quests at that point. So that's all you can spend your money on. Thankfully, there's no microtransactions. The one thing
I will say in favor of this version of Economy and Sea of Thieves is, thank God it's not like a randomized treasure loot box that you have to pull from.
Like Destiny.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Or like Overwatch. But yeah, so, and you can also buy, you can buy cosmetic things for your ship. So that's cool, whatever. I mean, it's great to have cosmetic things in your game. Personalize your character. I'm all for it. But none of this stuff makes your character any more valuable or powerful. None of it. So what's the point of me getting it? I don't care. I care about, I like cosmetic stuff. You know, I'm constantly trying to get the best skin in Overwatch. That's great, but none of it. It's not like I'm buying a better gun so I can be better at killing the undead pirates, or buying a better sword. None of it. There's no sense of player progression, is what I'm trying to say, which is partially what I thought the game was advertised as. I thought it would be more RPG like, but it's not. And I'm not sure if that was just a miscommunication between me and the advertisements of the game, or if I was falsely advertised to. I'm not sure.
I think that's. I think that this is proving to be a continuous thing, not just from Rare, but from a lot of companies of missing the boat
Yeah,
of
very
what their of advertising what their game is, or really finding the concept of what the game is. And for instance, miscommunication on the marketing side. Rare just had this thing of the death tax.
Oh,
where
yeah.
they were going to have a tax on players every time they died.
They were going to.
And then they rescinded it, and part of the
Thank
messaging
God.
that came from Rare was that we didn't communicate it properly, so we're ending it. We've heard your feedback. So it seems like there's a continued problem of communicating what...
Bungie hears my feedback too.
Yeah.
You know, has Destiny 2 gotten any better? It's gotten better, I'm kidding. But
but like Destiny's 10-year plan was totally destroyed by the fact that it couldn't be what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky was hyped to no end,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of actually... Sea of Thieves isn't exactly No Man's Sky for Microsoft, but it's pretty analogous because it's a small game that a smaller studio was developing for the main publisher, right? Like No
Rare
Man's
is
Sky
a
was
first-party studio. That pretty much one of the only first-party studios. It's not like it was Microsoft Studios or 343. Rare is a smaller studio, I believe, than say 343, which makes Halo. Obviously,
but
a high-profile
their back catalog is
thing.
Things like recently, like Viva Pinata.
Right, of
it's
course.
Not like they're making.
And they made a
Viva
bunch of
Pinata
Connect
and
games.
Cameo.
Yeah, they haven't been making AAA quote unquote titles as this game, I believe, was thought to be. And look, I'll give it to them. The
Banjo-Kazooie
presentation
was
of
the
the
game I was thinking of.
I'm sorry.
Banjo-Kazooie was the game I was thinking of.
Oh
That's
yes,
Rare.
yeah, they made Banjo-Kazooie, and that's why Banjo-Kazooie you can play on Xbox now, as opposed, even though it came out on the N64. But anyways, because Rare retained the rights to the game as opposed to Nintendo. But the game, I must say, is really beautiful. I think the game. One thing that maybe they spent the most time on is probably the water in the game. I think everyone has heard this. But did you know the waves are procedurally generated? I heard that.
So this is the thing that we were talking about earlier. I don't know if it's in a Let's Play or not, or if it was just on a previous stream. It's just like they took all of their time to design the waves, and then when it came to like designing the atmosphere, and then when it came to, and the music's great too.
Yeah.
And then when it came to designing the gameplay, they're like, "Shit, we have to rush through this. What do we have in the environment? Chickens and pigs. Okay, they have to collect the chickens and pigs."
Look, I mean, what it boils down to is this is not a single player game at all. That you can play the game by yourself. You do need an internet connection. You do need Xbox Live, but I would not suggest it at all. I mean, I played this game. We talked about it last podcast. I think I told the story. I played it by myself for a while, I think last week. And I went, I had a couple quests to go on. So I spent about 30-45 minutes gathering everything. And I'm by myself on the sloop. And you can't really defend yourself if you're getting attacked by a ship, for instance. And that's exactly what happened. So all of my progress immediately erased, and I've wasted an hour of my life, essentially, because I got killed at sea. I get the mentality. We're all pirates in the game. Pirates killed pirates. It happened, and they're scallywags or whatever. And and it's the worst. It's a bad feeling, but I guess that's the game they wanted to design.
But I
Um,
think it's not, actually. I think it's what's resulted from the lack of gameplay otherwise. Because I
yeah.
think they've built in a lot of stuff that those, even though it's Sea of Thieves and there's the idea that pirates should attack each other, they at the tavern where you start, right? You start in the bar. Right next to the door on the way out is the pirate's code.
Oh,
It's a
I
list
didn't
of
even
how to
notice
be
that.
a pirate and different things. In the ship, you have lanterns and things. You have the ability to have the make friend emote and things like this.
Hmm.
I think that the interaction between groups of pirates wasn't always supposed to be antagonistic. I think that really it's what's
Yeah, if you look
resulted
at the
because
graphical
players are
style,
bored.
if you look at the graphical style, it's all sort of cartoony and cel shaded, which is really nice, um, and like friendly. So you figure that people would want to be more friendly in the game, but they don't. But it is. I will give them this. It's pretty cool to get in a battle with another boat if you have a crew. It's really awesome.
Yes,
The
that is a lot of fun.
Yes, it is a lot of fun, and you can send people over with gunpowder barrels and blow that shit up. It's a lot of fun to play the game with other people. I'd say for the
The one
most part.
thing, except for learning that you can spawn
Oh
and they
yeah,
can kill you immediately,
right.
that wasn't fun. But yeah, so we were fighting in a sloop against a galleon,
And
and
we
we
won.
took out the galleon even though it was just the two of us in the sloop, and stole all of their loot.
Yes, that was an exciting moment, and it's moments like that that make this game pretty fun. But you
Which is
will,
ironic because I was
yeah,
just railing against the whole antagonistic
right.
thing.
So
But I just don't want every interaction to be that
yeah,
way.
it would be cool if we formed an alliance with another galleon and they defended us or something. I don't know. It would be cool if there was some sort of, I don't know, reason for that to
Skeleton
happen.
crew.
Yeah, skeleton crew. That'd be cool if we could join another crew. That would be cool. But as it is, you sort of jump in and jump out, and you have your experiences. And if you're jumping in with a four-man crew, you're gonna have a pretty good time, I'd say. Um, but then again, I don't know how long you can be playing this game because you're gonna be bored out of your mind if you just do the quests because the quests suck. So
The
it's a weird game.
Yeah, the things that I'll say, because I've said a lot of bad things. The things that I actually really like about it, the sailing is tremendous fun. I
Yeah,
have so much fun sailing, even though it's a repetitive activity. It's something that you can do by
it's
yourself with a
engaging.
group. Yeah, you're always trying to judge the sails, the angle of the sails and things, and try and tack with the wind so that
Hmm.
you can get a faster wind even if you're not going in the straight line. At least that's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
do in my game. So that's a lot of fun. The graphic style is very pretty. I enjoy that a lot. The music is my favorite thing in the game, I think.
yeah.
And it's really cool that you have multiple layers. So like if I'm playing my instrument and Julian whips out his instrument, will automatically
Harmonize.
harmonize
Yeah,
together, and it
unless you're
actually sounds
drunk.
really cool.
Then,
Yes.
because you can get drunk in the game, then you start going off key. It's great. It's pretty funny. um, but yeah, it's so all in all, I feel like this game sort of lands. It shoots really high, but it lands sort of in the middle. This is a mediocre game to me. I wouldn't suggest buying it at full price like I did, unless you know you have friends that are also going to do that, and are also definitely going to play the game with you. Because I know I have a lot of friends that tell me they're going to play video games with me, but they don't fucking play video games with me. I'm calling you guys out if you listen to this podcast. But yeah,
And
so it's I think it's like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10 personally. I think it falls there, but I don't know about you.
well, I think a game that requires like 30 to 40 hours to be more interesting, or like 10 to 20 hours to be more interesting, uh, just automatically ranks lower for me.
Yeah.
I enjoy I enjoy a game where you can get dropped in and figure and understand things. Like there are ways that it doesn't have to be the tutorial which pops up a dialogue box every 10 steps, and that you can't skip cutscenes and things like that that are supposed to draw the player in into this fantastic world, but really is just annoying. And give you a tutorial that is more inventive and really allows the player to learn. There are ways to do that. This game has no tutorials.
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't watch other people play, you have no idea what the fuck to do for half of the stuff. Because, yeah, you can figure out the ship pretty easily. Like, you just click F and you can intuitively figure that stuff out. I don't necessarily need a tutorial for that stuff. But, like, the bucket, all of the compass, I don't know,
I don't even know what
other
is
instruments. So you can put the compass up so that you can measure paces or something. I don't really know.
We've never had to do that.
Okay. Exactly. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's just not great. I would say the skill graph for being good at sea combat, like ship-to-ship battles, is quite high. It's really difficult to hit shots from the cannons.
Yeah, unless you're right next to the ship.
And they don't seem to have, like, an understandable trajectory when you're moving.
Yeah.
I understand that your ship is moving, and so, like, you have to figure that out. And then if their ship is also moving, then it's one moving target hitting another moving target, which is incredibly difficult to begin with. But even when I'm firing at, like, skeletons on land, it can be quite difficult to figure out exactly how a shot is going to fly.
It's all projectile motion.
But the thing that I really like is the sword combat is very basic and very nice. Yeah. I just wish the guns did a bit more damage.
Yeah, the guns can be, I mean, they're guns. They should do more damage. Oh, man. But yeah,
I can shoot a pig 3 times and the pig doesn't die?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't understand the interaction with wildlife in the game. But the cool thing about the game is that it is on Xbox Game Pass because it is a Microsoft first-party title. So you can get the game for $10 a month. You can try it right now for $10, or you could get it if you want to do the free trial for Game Pass. Then you can just play it for free.
That's what I did. So I had 14 days of basically free trial of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, so...
except for the fact that I had to buy Xbox Live because I didn't have an Xbox Live account active. So really, if you pair them two up, then it's $20 a month if you're doing month to month.
I'm talking to the people who have an Xbox or a PC or both and are already in the ecosystem, and maybe they're on the edge, so they're looking through a bunch of different reviews, and maybe they found us, and that would be cool. Share us with your friends. We talk about video games and politics and things like that. But yeah, so I'm trying to tell you that, you know, if we haven't convinced you of our opinions, then go play it for yourself. I think that would be the best way to figure out, because it's not a $60 investment unless you want it to be with Xbox, because you can get it with Xbox Game Pass. So that's pretty cool, at least. Ivan...
Yo.
Do you have anything else to say about Sea of Thieves?
No, it's a fun game to try. I wouldn't necessarily buy it now. I really hope the DLC or the things that they do in the future aren't
paid.
I hope the first DLC isn't paid DLC.
That would suck.
I'll put it that way.
Hey, Captain Vidya, welcome to the show. We are streaming the Hungover podcast now every single week. Today, we're streaming it on Wednesday, but we will usually stream it on Sundays. Now, Ivan, you wanted to talk a bit about the March for Our Lives movement that's going on in America right now.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, we did hit on the topic of
gun violence in America and guns.
Yeah, gun violence and gun legislation in America. And one of the major reasons that we did that was because of the shooting in the Florida high school, Stoneman Douglas. So the students organized this march, and a lot of marches occurred across the country. I think over 1 million people participated nationwide, and it showed a lot of support, I think, for gun rights, being like restricting the access to a lot of just really dumb things that people shouldn't have their holds on, like bump stocks, a lot of weapons that people shouldn't be just
assault
shouldn't
rifles.
have access to as civilians.
Semi-automatic
rifles.
like
Semi-automatic assault rifles, things that were used in the attacks in Florida or Las Vegas, things like that. So it was a really impressive demonstration of how young kids can help to organize, and how the younger generations are really taking activism to a different level. It's this generation is somewhere in between, like, I think our generation and the generation before us, where we came alive during the internet. So the internet, our generation used a lot as a tool to talk about things and really get voices heard in different ways.
Yeah.
But not necessarily in ways that also led to a lot of physical protest and action. Like there were some, like Occupy Wall Street is a big example.
Yeah, and my dad tracked me to a couple protests against the Iraq War. So the war in Iraq. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the internet was a great tool for organization, getting voices heard, and connecting communities across the country, or in a city. In a large city, it can help connect people. But I think this is an example of taking it a step forward. So these kids have like millions of followers now on Twitter, and are able to get their voices heard and use that publicity, use that as a stepping stone towards action. So now that we've had this march, they've had action in Florida with passing gun restriction laws, and we shall have a debate in Congress, I think, about how to really fix this on a national scale. And you saw how many voices of young kids were out there, 16, 17-year-olds. I've heard a lot of interviews from them, and, older generations as well.
Did you see the girl who threw up on live TV?
No, I didn't.
It was so funny, but I mean, it was great because she said she puked because she was in the middle of giving a really moving speech and then puked, and then she said, "I just fucking threw up on live TV. It's fucking awesome," or "It feels great." It was great. It was so funny. But yeah, so I mean, they're still kids, so they're still lighthearted about it, or they can still have a good attitude towards it. Towards the unfortunate things that happen, which is really great. I'm glad they're still being kids.
Yeah,
which is good.
I agree.
But unfortunately,
and then that's also part of the reason that they can respond to people on Twitter calling them
libtards. I don't know.
Actors, stupid. What is it? Crisis actors and things like that.
Oh, really?
And they're just they reply to them and laugh them off, and they're able. I mean, a lot of people have said that this generation is the best at utilizing Twitter in response to trolls, and perhaps that's true, perhaps it's not. I think that trolls still have access to a lot of the internet, but I think this movement was just so overpowering that it didn't matter the response from the trolls. Mm-hmm. It was just this movement had too much momentum behind it to be stopped. I think one of the major things that we saw happen was Emma Gonzalez stand silent for 4 minutes and 26 seconds, the length of the attack. And that was super powerful. So
I hope I hope that these children are turning 18 soon. But I hope, or at least by the next election, I hope. I know some of them aren't, unfortunately, which is really bad because they're so politically active now, and there's actually a reason to go out for them to go out and vote. I think that's really unfortunate if they don't turn 18.
But at least it's like getting kids involved. So it's it's also a thing that I can use to like talk to students at the elementary level, middle school level, high school level. Look at these kids and look at how active they are.
Some of those kids might have been some of the kids. because
Exactly.
yeah, I saw there were
So
toddlers there. It's funny.
yeah, there were like parents were taking their children, and a lot of them were like, "Yes, my children asked me to come to this march," and they
That's
in
amazing.
interviews they were using things like soft lockdown or hard lockdown, terminology that we didn't even have in school.
Yeah, I
Uh,
my school was talking about getting metal detectors. That's about it. But they didn't have my high school, that is. But they didn't have metal detectors or anything. Um, yeah, I applaud everyone who went to these protests. I probably should have went myself, considering I'm on a college campus all the time. So I mean it's possible that it could happen, I guess, which is horrifying. It should never happen. But yeah, so it's really a moving movement, and I wish them all the best. But
we
I
throw our
think
support
it's
behind it,
time
our
for
moderate and small
legislation.
support.
Yeah, hungover gaming approved, seal of approval. But yeah, so I think that there's now a mobilized, politically motivated group of individuals that are just young individuals that are coming up, and I think there's going to be some big changes in some midterm elections coming up. I think so, anyways. I think that now, unfortunately, it took such a horrible event to happen to motivate people, but I think to motivate the younger generation of America, which is really where we've seen a lot of political reform and change become influenced from. I think, anyways, in terms of what I know about history. I don't really know that much about history, but as far as I know, so I think that this may be the revolution of our time, and I hope it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
these kids even said that they're drawing a lot of inspiration from the Vietnam War
yeah,
or
the
the civil rights
70s
protests. So, um,
or late
so
60s, early 70s, 68
yeah, so
specifically.
those are also young kids leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree. I'm very hopeful now.
Yeah, this is. I think only good things can come from these protests, and really, I hope. I can't wait to see some changes. Can't wait. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time to be alive. I tell you, we're seeing these changes on Twitter. We're seeing these changes in our politics. Hopefully, games don't go the route of Sea of Thieves, and hopefully, you guys enjoy the Hungover podcast. Do you guys have any questions in the Twitch chat out there for us? Anything about anything, we'll answer anything. But if you don't, because I'll cut you off right there. That's too much. You've asked too much, guys. Thanks for tuning in. No, but if you have any questions, we'll do it. I'll just roll the outro right now. So, with streaming and new technologies, we get technical difficulties. So I'm sorry for anyone who's still watching on Twitch. But if you aren't, then you probably just notice a jump in the audio or something. I don't know. Something like that. But anyways, we end this podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener or viewer, or live viewer now, who no one is left in the chat, so sad, can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com, or just, figure a way to send it out to us either on social media. All our info is in the description below, of a song that you wrote, produced, or put an instrument on. That would be awesome. Or your friend wants some free advertisement. This is free advertisement for you, and we'd love to listen to your music. So send it in to gaminghungover@gmail.com. If no one does that, then I get to pick a song. And since we reviewed Sea of Thieves today, and we praised the music, which is actually pretty good in the game, very pirate themed, we're going to be playing a little song called Sea of Thieves, Be Calmed. Hurdy-gurdy instrument soundtrack.
Yes, the hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdies are great. So that should be playing for you guys now. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to tune in live. I'll I'll be sure to actually tweet it out. So give me a follow on Twitter, twitter.com/GGBsgood, or follow the Hungover Gaming Twitter, Gaming Hungover. That would be great because we will try to tweet it out and give you guys some heads up notice if you want to interact with us live and see all the technical mishaps that we run into along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Julien, alongside
Ivan. Thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out next week as we dive further into other games and topics. Bye.
Bye.